It's another edition of Checking In with Hein and Johnny, where the hosts bring in mystery topics that neither host knows anything about until the mics go hot and on the air. We are the show that keeps the host from talking about the weather and World War II 24 hours a day. Hey, Heine, man, what's on your mind?
Yippee-yi-yo, yippee-yo, yippee-yay. I want to be the SunWest Bank guy.
We don't have SunWest Bank, so I don't even know who that is.
Well, whoever.
He makes fun of Gronk in the commercials now because he didn't serve. And he has a healthy, manly mustache that makes you feel like you get pregnant just looking at the mustache. The mustache, as we would hear from many comedians, the mustache almost made me pregnant.
I only like to get pregnant by the Chateaubriand or a nice lobster thermidor. That's what makes me feel pregnant lately.
Pray tell me, it's springtime, it's Easter. What brings you about this delightful cowboy hat?
I don't know, we just need to shake things up. Did you ever want to be a cowboy, Johnny?
Oh, yeah.
When you were a little kid?
Oh, I wanted to be a cowboy. Yeah, I had cowboy boots, I had cowboy hats, I had cowboy clothes, I had the cowboy vest. My brothers wore cool boots, which I like, the leather boots. So, yeah, I was totally into it. Probably, had I lived in Texas or New Mexico, I'd have been fully Garth Brooks by the time I was a teenager. How about you?
Oh, still am. I just had to unstrap my cap guns to sit down.
Man, remember caps where you would get the whole roll and smash it with a hammer so it just really go off?
Yes.
Man. Did you ever burn your house down almost doing pyromania things in your backyard?
No. I've had encounters with the police over stuff I was blowing up. But I kept a safe distance from any other flammables.
Hold on.
Call me safe.
You just glossed over some pretty interesting pod material. You've had visits from the cops over your use of flames?
Yeah, I'd blow stuff up.
Henry, take a moment.
I'd blow
You're about
things
to
up.
asphyxiate.
And we'd get
I'm going to have to call Chris.
2 houses down, the neighbor's dog would start throwing up. And
he threw up because of explosions?
Yeah, just from me popping off firecrackers in the backyard. The house not the next door neighbor, the next one, their dog would freak out. And she'd call the cops. And so I'd be out there with like Pearl Harbor set up in the driveway, flaming wrecks everywhere. And the police would show up and confiscate my fireworks and drive off, my big string of firecrackers.
Yeah.
Not that exciting.
Black cat firecrackers. You were in the bougie neighborhood, so you got the cops called on you. I was not in the bougie neighborhood, so nobody ever came to my house.
So did you get close to getting the house to go down?
Oh, multiple times. My brothers and sisters saved the house multiple occasions. Gasoline explosions. We found my friend from across the street, his dad would load his own bullets. So we found, in a bad way, we found the stash of gunpowder and we went to town. We were we were our own prepubescent Disney fireworks show. We found out you could put like a little, a beaker or a little pill cap. If you if you filled it with gunpowder and leaned in and lit it, it'd go up like a Roman candle, and we loved it. So yeah, my brother Doug saved the house from burning down many times. They just, yeah, I got a beating. My dad, speaking of cowboy boots, I got I got my butt beaten multiple times because I was constantly lighting everything on fire. I almost burnt down Skyline High School like twice because I loved the vacant field where they ended up putting like an extra parking lot. Well, that wasn't an extra parking lot. Like when we went to Skyline, it was just a field. So, yeah, I burnt it down a couple of times.
Oh.
Cop. Yeah. I don't. Yeah, and my grandkids, the boys that are grandkids, they unfortunately they have the pyromaniac gene. You've never had the fire marshal show up to your house?
Well, I was there. I think we've had a few kitchen fires where they've come out and gotten all
Help.
the smoke out real fast with their vacuum sucker when their things have gone awry on the range.
We we had a particularly cold winter in Salt Lake. Got to about 4 below, and I had bought my sweet Firebird, and in our apartment, the rain had, gone across the car, but it instantly frozen. So when I went to get into the car, it was all sealed shut. I couldn't get any of the doors open. I got the rider's side door open and got in, and started up, went to work, and couldn't get out of the driver's side because it was still frozen. It was, it was 8 below that year. So I went to the office, and on our desks at that time, you had a brochure of all the offices in the world of our stock brokerage company. One was Palm Springs. I made the call that day because I wrenched my neck getting out of my own car. We were on a bus to Palm Springs in 6 days. So we moved to Palm Springs, and we didn't really think too much. We got a Bronco. Didn't think too much about air conditioning because, to be honest, in Salt Lake, you know, 9, 10 months of the year, it's not really overwhelming. But in Palm Springs, we had a Bronco with no air conditioning, and it is hot all the time in Palm Springs. But thankfully, Clark Minson was visiting us that day, and thankfully, some idiot lit the apartment building on fire, burnt the Ford Bronco was probably 2 feet high by the time it melted all the way down. The glass had melted in puddles. It burnt up a couple of motorcycles. We got one car out of the little thing, but that they of course the cops came and did what the cops do, which is they interrogated me and said I burnt down the place. And I'm like, well, okay, no, yeah. So
I was just
the
burning the
one time I
Bronco.
the one time I hadn't burned anything down, they were wrong and we had the wrong guy. But yeah, so I guess I have had a lot of interactions with the fire marshal. Insurance paid for a brand new car, and guess what I had on the second car, Henry?
Got one of those window mounted whirly gig Swamp coolers for your 55 Chevy?
I got a wing window. Remember the old wing windows? You'd flip the other way and it would really suck in the air.
Oh, yeah.
No, yeah, we got a better car with air conditioning. No, nobody understands if you haven't lived in the Southwest just how hot Palm Springs summers are. It's so hot that you'd leave the movie theater at 10 at night and the wind would burn your face. Like you'd feel searing burns. But
That's why people
hey,
only went there in the winter.
yeah, that's why people
In
don't
the summer, they
live there.
boarded them up and tried to keep them from
Yeah.
popping off like popcorn.
Yeah, El Paseo and the fantastic rancho areas where Frank Sinatra and Bob Hope lived, they didn't go there in the summer. We were stupid. We lived there all the time. Spring. Oh, speaking of cowboys, did you? This is something I did not know. Tell me if you knew about it. That 75% of cows are artificially inseminated in the world.
I did not know the percentage was that high in the world.
Yeah, I guess it's literally if you have if you have cows, you will not be able to get a bull to au natural.
Hey,
Won't.
that's
Well, I mean, I guess you would, but you'd have to own the bull, right?
you could do it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of them. There's still a lot of bulls in the world.
yeah, oh yeah. Around where I'm in a total cow town, so there are tons of bulls. Yeah, cattle. Beef. A lot
Bulls,
of
real
beef.
bulls, like stay out of the corral type bulls.
No feet. No, like meat.
Yeah,
They raise them up, sell them for
beef on the
steak.
hoof. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
oof.
Lots of great scents. This time of year, we get we do get changing seasons of odors. Right now, it's skunk mating season, so it's constant skunks. Like all month is just skunks. Then it warms up a bit. Mwah. Manure.
You know, I'm still shoveling spring
Yeah.
off my
Yeah.
decks. My back
Yeah.
hurts because I love the shoveling spring. Johnny, have you ever participated in any rodeo events?
Never. I watched it once in Palm Springs. They had a rodeo that involved camels and ostriches more than actual like bulls. They did, ostrich races and camel like fights and all that. So nothing. I've seen one rodeo type thing that was I from A to Z. I think I had the grade X rodeo because ostriches are not, I don't think they're supposed to be in the rodeo.
I used to go to this little sand and gravel pit down in Vado, New Mexico. I think it was run by the Guillen family. And I would go in there and try to sell them conveyor parts, and they didn't buy a lot of them, but uh, I would call on this woman. She kind of ran the office, which was in their home. And they had a corral and an arena, and they would run charreadas, which are the Mexican style rodeos. And we went to one of those, which was great. And all the women come out riding side saddle and parade around. The men come
Nice.
out and back up and forth. And her kids did not ride skateboards or play video games. They roped. So I would go there and
Yeah.
I'd sit there and go like, "Are you kids any good?" And they started calling me like Guabrito Salado, which was little blue pants. So have I already said this story?
No.
So they make
Little
joke
blue
with me.
pants? Why was that your? I mean, I love
Because
I
I,
love
I
that.
would show up in slacks, which not
Oh
jeans,
yeah.
and they'd be like, "Who's this weirdo? Where'd he come in from?" So one day they said, "Hey, Wabritos, we want you to ride. We want you to go out in the ring." And I'm like, "Okay, what do you got?" Well, and then the kids go out and they hop on this steer.
Oh.
And he goes out around the arena and he does a lap and he comes back. He goes, "See, man, it's easy. It's easy." So like, it's your turn. So it's okay. I get on the steer. And so I get out into the middle of the arena about 10 feet and they unleash their pit bull named Mike Tyson onto the steer.
What buttholes? Right? Oh.
Oh, no, you cannot pay for valuable life experiences like this. So then it's figuring out how to get off the steer as fast as you can with your hand stuck in your crotch. You're doing, and then, whoof, I figured it out and got off. They all had a good laugh. And me
And
too.
you got a heck of a story.
Well, it was a quick one. But that was my life in the rodeo.
Yeah. Now, have you been to many, many rodeo events? That's
I've been to enough of them, and I can't go to the indoor ones because I'm was horribly kind of allergic to horses in a closed space and all that farm animal stuff. So I'd have need an EpiPen. But if they're outdoor, I'm good. And I love that kind of stuff.
That's good times.
How about one time we went, the other one I did is, I said, before they close them all down, this last element of the Roman arena we need to go to, the bullfights in Juarez. So I took the kids to that. There's a blood sport for you. You ever been to the bullfights, Johnny?
No,
you need to go before you die.
Yeah, in movies it looks fantastic because it looks so unbelievably violent and bloody.
Yeah, you got to get the PETA people in there.
Shut that stuff down. Shut that stuff down.
Olay. And then the matadors, if it's a good matador, I mean, they've got this big long sword, and they pop that little bull, and and then women throw their shoes down to the matador, and you take the shoe, kiss it, and huck it back up into the stands.
I did not know that.
Yep, pack it in, go out and go get a margarita.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You have such a world traveler vibe, Heine. That's why I rely on
the
you.
Border.
Yeah.
La Frontera.
That's good times.
It is.
I love it.
Well, yeah. It's my wife thinks I'm going to it's too dangerous, and maybe she's right, but.
Well, I'll get a call at 2 a.m. on Saturday from Chris. There will be no podcast. Henry's head is chopped off.
And he's in Mexican jail.
Well, you only had yourself getting incarcerated. I had the cartels lopping off your head. I had your body strung by the train tracks.
Let's not go into that pit.
What?
Hopefully they're doing something about those cartels right now.
I hope they are. Well, so that whenever you say things like "let's go down," it makes me want to go down that hole. So have you seen any dead cartel victims?
I have not. Personally,
Good.
I have seen elements of the Mexican National Army all masked up out poking around in a field with sticks.
Wow.
I've seen an AR-15 border transfer go down. where
Man,
one truck, when a car pulls up, the guys in the back, I think the worst thing you don't want to drive like a black Tahoe or Denali
no.
around that town. But one of them pulls up behind the other one and they hop out with an AR-15 kind of covered with the towel, run it up to the next car, and then they all take off.
That's crazy.
It's a town where the citizenry would really love to have a gun, but it's illegal to own them.
It's the wrong people own them.
The wrong people own them. Yeah, you can only get them if you're hooked up with the army.
Man alive. Who knew your cowboy hat would rain down on us delightful stories of the Southwest, Henry? You're a genius.
You gotta live out
Well,
there.
the last cowboy related fact that I will be able to dispel on us is I love when thieves are super super smart and they do really crazy weird things where they steal stuff that's just weird. One of my favorite ones is maple syrup. Back in Canada, somebody stole like over $2 million worth of maple syrup because it's so maple. I guess it wasn't maple syrup, but it's probably the maple, the maple sap. It just, I don't know why, but it pleases me to no end that some crazy thief is smart enough to get away with tankers, like semi trucks full of maple syrup. The other thing that I loved is they robbed bull semen. They stole 60 containers of bull semen. And bull semen is so expensive that even if it was the worst bull semen, even if it was grade X semen like I would have, it would be worth over $10 million. And if it was from like great breeding stock, it's the sky's the limit. Unbelievable.
I mean, who is the kingpin of the underground bull semen market?
I know. It makes you think. And they have to cool it with liquid nitrogen anyway to keep it I mean, see what I mean, doesn't that really boggles the mind? My last one, I'm boring everybody. The last one is robbers swooped in and stole 80 80 beehives all at once from the beehive king, the king bee. The Blues Brothers had the king bee and stole them, and they were also worth a ton of money. I guess these hives. Have you ever done any honey procurement? Any beehive work, or anybody in your neighborhoods ever have beehives?
No, I have bought honey from in the kind of Rio Grande Valley. I knew people, farmers down there who their kids would put themselves through college keeping bees, and you run the hives around to different people's fields, and
Nice.
and then they're selling the honey for like $10 for a mason jar
Right.
of that, and yeah, that's. I mean, I buy
Delicious
that
honey.
whenever I can. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Honey, they have honey stores. Like we were in Savannah, Georgia once, and they had a honey store, and it had like 60 different types of flavors of honey. And you could go and sample the honeys. And I am not you, Henry. You are an experienced culinary uh, expert. All I tasted was 60 different teaspoons of the same honey. And they swore that there was real differences between this honey. I'm like, okay.
That's part of it's a man skill, Johnny. I mean, you've seen the show where these cows got into an onion patch.
You kill me with Napoleon Dynamite.
It's one of the best.
Oh,
So last night we are watching for your eye candy. We're watching the White Lotus, the new. It's on. Got to be.
do you like the White Lotus?
Strangely, in its very weird and twisted way, it always takes you. It's about the spa, the White Lotus spa, I guess, and there it's in various places, and people are turning up dead and with weird problems. It kind of takes you into these long, uh, convoluted stories. But who I sit there, they're talking. This couple's talking. They're meeting with the other couple, and I said, I think that guy wants to sell me a 27-piece set or the Bust Must Plus. It was Uncle Rico. John Grease is in there.
Oh,
It's
nice.
like Uncle, I recognize his kind of weird eye that he's going, I wish I was back in 82. I could throw a football. I said,
That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. So and so we pull up his resume, and he's been in tons of stuff.
Yeah. So you
What a
so
fun
you've watched
career.
all and you've watched all 3 seasons of the White Lotus?
I watched the one I missed. We kind of missed the first one. We watched the second one
Yep.
where they're in Sicily. That one was just good, clean fun. And then now we're watching this new one, episode 2, something like that.
I do like the White Lotus.
Do you do?
They
You watched it?
mentioned, yeah, the weird thing that I'm not like I don't think I'm not sure I could handle is the large amount of baboons, monkeys, and snakes that are physically on the set, but they're no snake wranglers or monkey wranglers. These are just they're just there. I mean,
You got to watch your step.
yeah, the actor said they were constantly in the hospital because there's so many snakes and weird stuff biting you.
Here's my funniest baboon story.
Ooh,
That's there. I have never.
you have levels. I have no
Well,
baboon
this is from a
stories.
friend who was from Rhodesia, and so his brother
Mm,
owned a. I think his brother owned a house up against one of the national parks in South Africa. And so if you own property up against one of those, you've got all the varmints coming off.
yeah.
So they go out for the day on safari to go poke around, look at the giraffes and elephants and whatnot. And they come back and they look at each other and said, Fred, did you lock the front door?
Oh no.
I thought you did. So
No.
a troop of baboons goes in and ransacks the home. And
It's
here's the funny thing they do, Johnny. And this will take us into that other area. The baboons find all the women's handbags and deposit little turdlings into them. So they're just sitting there going, eh. So you open your purse and ugh.
6 months later, surprise.
I just
Had they ever
love
heard of that? I mean,
what's that?
had they ever heard of the purse turd thing?
Who? The baboons?
The big,
Apparently they just
oh,
think it's good fun.
it's a big thing.
Funny.
No,
I didn't realize they had such a highly developed sense of humor.
I love.
While they're clearing out your shelves, what do they throw the TV out the window? That'd be funny too.
Into the Led Zeppelin, the Who chucked the TV out into the pool. No, they get all the handbags from the person that would hate it the most. That's a highly developed sense of humor. I love it.
Oh yeah, you can't pay for that.
No, that's beautiful. That's great. And then, of course, you wouldn't think to look at there first. You'd think, well, they probably got a bag of oranges and a bag of apples and destroyed them. So they had an actual living Disneyland river cruise where the baboons ransacked the campsite, one of my favorite rides, and it was their own house.
Yeah, makes you kind of want to shoot them.
makes makes you want to put the baboon head up on the wall and tell all your friends, yeah, that guy pooped in my wife's handbag. So I shot him.
Last time he'll do that.
Any weird nature coming into your life that you didn't expect like that? Any stories where it actually happened to your house in your handbag?
We keep the
No
doors and
bats?
windows locked at all
Yeah.
times. New Mexico people would have there was this old guy go chasing the hounds. The hounds would get loose, and there was a guy way up at the end of this road, and Chris was afraid of him. He's some kind of old timer up there, and this house is kind of junky. But I'd be up there chasing the dogs through his yard, and he'd come out. He was a good guy. It was fine, but he was
Just
kind of that
spooky.
old varmint up there. And he said that the bear got into his house. The bear got into his house, and it took him like 5 hours to get the bear out of his house. He did not call, he did what they, typically people would have a bear in their yard, and the mom would come out and call the wildlife
Yeah.
people, the fish and game out. There's a bear in my yard. And they'd be, I'll be right over, and they'd drive up, the bear's in their yard, boom, they'd blow it away right in front of the kids.
Shoot it right there.
It's like, and then oh, I didn't know you were going to kill the bear. How the hell do you want us to get it out of your yard, lady? But this old guy, he just sat in there and poked it with sticks or whatever, or got out his wild mountain honey and tried to lure the guy out. And yeah, you go out and be out there with, don't go let those coon hounds chase you.
He didn't want them to come shoot Smokey the bear.
No, he's a man, an independent man who can get things done on his own.
Little bit of honey from Savannah. He got his 2 jars. One was licorice and the other one was lilac honey, where the bees had nothing but lilac. He blew the essence. The bear remembers delicious lilac honey. Yes, please.
Cuddly bears. Gotta love them.
Okay. Henry, you've seen, just in case you're wanting to know a little bit behind the scenes, your stories about the dogs chasing the bears, that's a huge view that everybody loves hearing about the hound dogs.
Dig up those photos. I was looking for them. They seem to be somewhere out there in cyberspace.
People will gobble them up. Those they got 10, 20 times the views because everybody loves to hear about your pooches chasing those bears up the trees. So the more bears we have on the podcast, the one thing I've learned, the more you talk about Dr. Pimple Popper, Halle Berry, and your dogs chasing bears, the more views we get. Everybody loves them.
Well, I got to take a right turn off the road. Unless what you got, Johnny?
No, right turn. I was hoping you had a right turn.
Well, I think this week, let's see, it wasn't this week, but a short time ago, we lost Eileen Bennett, who was George Formby's sidekick in the West End of London during the big war. She was 105 years old.
105.
Beautiful lady. if you are not familiar with George Formby, you need to be. He put a little on your playlist. He was a ukulele master from England
Ooh.
and came up with great
Ooh.
songs like Maginot Line that my wife wants to flick through every time it pops up on my playlist, but I
Not you.
phone
You
away and
wrestle.
keep it there. Keep it away.
Yeah.
105 years old. We also
Man.
just recently lost, also 105 years old was the last English pilot who participated in the Battle of Britain.
Nice. 105.
105, that's how old you have to be to have been in World War II in any other than as a child.
Yeah, my dad's been gone for like a long time. Yeah, he died at 72, so I'm planning to be dead next year, I guess. Just have one more year to go.
Keep going.
Now, 105. Do you want to go to 105?
If I can still change my own diapers, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would not want to get to 105 if I'm just, drooling into a cup and pooping my own pants.
Well, it's unlikely that we do it, so hey, yeah, that we should worry about.
No.
If I keep
No.
skiing, I keep all of my people I know are just keep getting crippled in skiing accidents.
Oh man, yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. Sonny Bono, you just have to be careful. Skiing is one heck of a violent sport.
I still don't
800
do it. I
bucks.
don't know.
$800 for a 3-day pass to most of the good ski resorts, Henry. That's pricey.
Yeah, and that does
That's
not
like
include
buying race cars.
your toboggan ride down the mountain.
Yeah, if you go down 16 times, you're talking a pretty expensive hill, right? I as a youth learning to ski, there was a tiny little ski resort that had a rope tow, and it was just before you got to Park City.
Talking
And it
about the
was
famous Gorgoza Resort,
shout out Gorgoza.
where our line is "Go Gorgoza."
Gorgoza. That's where I learned to ski.
Oh, that's
Holy
painful, Johnny. I'd
I
hate that.
was
I would be embarrassed and admit that on. They talk about podcasting. You're giving out too much personal information. That's more
That's
than we
it.
wanted to know.
You feel like that is the epitome of what bad things we've said.
We used to thumb our noses at Gorgoza as we drove to Park City, where we also thumbed our noses.
Yeah. No, Gorgoza, as you can probably guess, I only went a couple of times because I was literally 6. But I was scared to death of that stupid rope tow. I mean, violently scared of it because most of the time my jacket was caught on the rope tow and it was just dragging me up the hill, screaming and exactly. So my oldest brother Dave, who saved me from multiple life situations, had to race up and grab me off the rope tow, and I swore I was in imminent death most of the time with that stupid horror show that was the rope tow. They don't have those anymore, I'm sure, because
Yeah, they do.
do they?
And the other good news, Johnny, is they've reopened Gorgoza into some kind of massive sledding, skiing kind of place. It's not called Gorgoza. It's on Gorgoza Road.
Yeah.
Up there. And so it's a new place, bigger, better,
Fancier.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, but it's there. The mountain is still, they're skiing every inch of
every hill.
Utah, right? They're just
Yeah. Well, because it's $800 for 3 days to go to Gorgoza.
apparently. Yeah, with a $700 bowl of chili at lunch.
It's like the Disneyland of Utah.
Mm, yes.
$25 cheese sandwiches. Well, Henry,
Well, one
it
last call
is
out. One last call
call
out.
out your last
New
call out.
new dump. Connor Morrison released a new song. Oh, that song would be called Something to Believe. Not Something to Believe in, Something to Believe by Connor Morrison. Check it out on Spotify or wherever you download your
Love it.
tunes. Put it on your playlist. Give him 1,000 listens so that he can get 18 cents.
I love it. I try and punch my like button every second on Connor's music on TikTok. I'm an avid TikTok follower of his, and he is, as you know, incredibly gifted. I guess we're going to have to get him up early, 5:30 in the morning, and have him on sometime. Yeah, because I mean, when you're doing
It's
gigs,
a night owl.
you're,
We could do a special 1 a.m. podcast. And then yeah, okay, we can do that.
yeah, yeah, maybe that's what we have to do eventually. We will go live sometime at 1 a.m. with the Connor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you shouted him out. I always forget. I forget to do the shameless plugs.
I'm not a hype man, Johnny. I'm a hype man.
As you live and breathe, you just have nothing but marketing. Have an enjoyable Easter. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for listening to Checking In with Hein and Johnny. You can follow all things Hein and Johnny by subscribing to Checking In with Hein and Johnny anywhere you listen to podcasts. Checking In with Heine and Johnny is sponsored by Conveyors and Equipment. They supply, design, and service all types of conveyors, belting, and material handling equipment since 1972. With 3 locations to serve you, Salt Lake City, Albuquerque, and El Paso. Find them on the web at conveyequip.com. That's ConveyeEquuip.com.